Welcome to another episode of the Terry and Frank Show. I hope you've been following along on the human factors of leadership. There's a surprise inside every episode. They've really been good. I strongly suggest that you actually subscribe, smack that bell, listen to the prior episodes. You're going to love them. We have another fun one today. And why don't we start with a quick intro from Terry if you're new to the Terry and Frank Show.
Yes, welcome. We're so glad to have you. I'm Terry Mays, and I'm a certified culture engineer with focus on understanding the human side of business so that we can drive more value in that organization.
Yeah, and I'm Frank Wander. I'm the founder of People Productive. We're a company dedicated to making sure that our clients use the time, talent, energy of their professionals as best as possible so that the company and people thrive together. So Terry, we have another really fun one today, I think. This is going to be good. So in every episode, we watch something and then we chat about it a little. And there are a lot of very important takeaways for work and life. If you're a coworker or leader, I think you get something out of it. So Terry, I'm going to share the screen. Let's just get right into it. What do you say?
Yes, I think so. We don't want to give it away. So
we don't want to give it away. And I hope you haven't seen this. Okay, let me get down here. Oops. Take our popcorn and go home.
I think that's my favorite.
That's hysterical. Certainly a great ad, but I think there's a lot to take away from that. What do you take from that? What can we all learn?
I think so too. This is a great story of never judge a book by its cover.
Do I have this running again? Hold on. Sounds like I did a bad job shutting that off, right? Okay.
Yeah. You don't want to judge people just based on their appearance. This room is full of people that kind of look alike. They all got the leather thing going. So it can be intimidating when you walk in a room where everybody seems to have met some kind of dress code and you've got the tattoos and the long hair and everything.
Yeah, clearly a group.
Right. They're clearly in a group together. And you feel like, maybe I walked in the wrong theater, maybe I'm in the wrong place, I'm interrupting a meeting, and all of those things would be going through my mind. But at the same time, I would be thinking, is this where I'm supposed to be? Should I sit down? Is this the right place for me? And all of those kinds of thoughts go through your mind when you walk into a workplace and people look the way that you look.
And their cliques and groups of people hanging out. They may not look like that, and they probably don't, but you can tell they're cohesive in some way.
Right. And so you start to look to see if there's a place for you to fit in. And I think this video really explains that well, of the reward that's there when you push past being uncomfortable, when you push past seeing people that don't look like you, they don't think right off the surface that you have anything in common. You think that they're against you. When you push past that thought and actually embrace the people that are there, you'll find a lot of times that people will embrace you right back, and they'll
That's right.
They'll
it ends with the, hey, let's have a beer together. right? Because they overcame it. And that is real life, you know, you're welcomed in.
It's real life. You know, people, if you notice, there was a little bit of fear there, right? So you come
Oh,
in,
absolutely. They're running away.
they're running away. But I love the couple that as soon as, so the husband and the wife, I'm assuming they're husband and wife, but just a man and a woman. And the lady starts going to the seat, and the
Yeah.
guy's like, "Are you crazy?" He
I'm not
literally,
going to protect you in this group, right?
we are not here. Let's go. And so
Right.
it's like literally pulling her
Oh,
back, like, no, we're not going to do that. But that
I,
is just so indicative of what happens when you're in those places and you're so uncomfortable and you feel like, I am not going to stay. I'm not going to participate.
yeah.
I'm not going to be here. And you realize that you're walking away from something that could really be a nice blessing and benefit to your life.
Yeah. And you know, I do think there's a takeaway from the click perspective. One of the things they're not is initially welcoming when the people come in.
Right.
Like if you're a click and you do want to be welcoming, you would be wave them over. Come on, you know, you could actually smile, wave them in. They didn't do any of that because it is a social experiment. But the lesson is that many of those people would have taken the seat had the click handled it differently.
Right, right. And that's so true of the workplace as well.
Same
You know,
thing.
you have a new person coming in, you want to make them feel welcomed. You want to make them
Totally.
feel like they can belong there, like you want them to be there. There's nothing worse than going into a workplace and feeling like people don't want you there.
Yeah, the power of welcoming. It's amazing how powerful that is. And you could see the absence of welcoming leads to this real discomfort and ultimately some fear.
Right, right. And you know, this is a good point to make too. So you've got this theater full of people, but you're in a theater. You're not
Yeah,
out
you're
in
not in
the,
an alley
you're
somewhere
not
out in a bad
in a
neighborhood. I
place
mean, come
that's
on.
dangerous where you may see a person. We're not saying that you shouldn't use, you know, that gut feeling is there for a reason. So
Mhm.
if you're in a dangerous situation, your body is hardwired to tell you that it's dangerous. But this was a theater, you know, and a
Right.
lot of times it's just a workplace, it's just an office. That person is just sitting next to you. Like
Great
nobody's
point.
asking you to marry them or go home with them.
Right.
You have to sit there and work with them. You just have to be open to that person sharing ideas and you sharing ideas with them. You know, this is not go have every meal with them or have them go follow you home. So
Yeah.
be open and allow people in. You know, sometimes you'd be pleasantly surprised, which everybody that sat down was pleasantly surprised to see that this group really is exciting. They really do want me here and they are celebrating me.
Yeah, yeah, phenomenal. And I think it's a great point, right? Consider the situation. What are the circumstances? Is that fear warranted? And you know, especially if in a work environment, most people, if you're new, they really want you to be on the team. So regardless of what you think, the fact is you're all going to have to succeed together. And
Right,
I found over the years, most people are welcoming, even if you felt some initial barrier or something. I
right.
didn't really encounter that. And I love the reward at the end. I think that's absolutely great too.
Yeah. And you can find different people from different walks of life. Really, in the final analysis, we're all just people and
Yeah.
we have very similar life experiences. You know, there are a lot of things and a lot of places where I don't fit in and I don't feel like I have the same experience. But if you leave me in the room long enough with the person, I'm going to find something that I'm just like, oh, I totally get that. Or if I've experienced that before, or I know what that's like.
Yep.
Everybody has very similar life experiences, no matter what your background is. Everybody has had something that they've had to deal with. And you can find ways to relate and connect with people if you want to. You
That's right.
have that desire to do so.
And there is a reward when you overcome some of these fears that you have to do things that may seem uncomfortable, right? That is part of growth and growing. So there was a reward here, and there's a reward for people who do it in the workplace as well.
Right, right.
It really is part of growth. And, you know, it's interesting how many cliques you do find in workplaces. You know, they exist all over. People have a lot of things in common. They find one another, and they're always searching for that common ground or identity so they can be part of something, because that is the human wiring.
Yeah. And you'll be surprised, the person that's least likely that you think you have anything in common with, you make a connection with that person, and that person will be your biggest defender. They will be your biggest cheerleader and stand in your corner no matter what. So
Right.
you really don't want to turn your nose up at people or exclude them or, feel like they don't have a common story just because you think their skin is, or because their skin is different, or you think that they don't understand or
Mhm.
they are not part of the clique, for whatever reason, they're not in the clique. You would be surprised at how many times you can have a conversation with somebody and find out, oh, we're not that much different after all.
Yeah, very true. Very true. You know, I found that so many times, and I've also found these people who sometimes have the tough exterior, and you become friends with them. They do become your big supporters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just be kind to them.
Right. And it's most of the time just a coping mechanism. I've had teachers before
Mhm.
that were just the meanest in class. Like you would
Oh,
just be like, I don't want to talk to them ever. But then you go for office hours and you find out, oh, they're really not mean at all. They're just, that's just their teaching persona.
oh
But
yeah.
to know them, and that same thing has happened with many times at work where I felt like, I don't know this person very well, or I don't think I have anything in common,
Mhm.
but I end up having to work with this person on something, and I find out we have things in common. We are
Yeah.
very similar, and they're not just this gruff person that is just the mean person. They are just, that's their coping mechanism for whatever it is they're dealing with, or just because they don't want people to think that they're a pushover.
Yeah,
People
absolutely. And you
ways.
know, sometimes, you know, people put on a tough exterior because they know over time that, you know, they want to work with people who are willing to put in the effort.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was in college, you know, one professor started this class off with, well, you know, this is a tough course. I hope you signed up and you're ready to do a lot of work. You know, there's 13 books. We're going to be doing one a week. Or do this and that. And he made it sound like you're going up Mount Everest. And ultimately, the people who dropped were the people who were kind of half into it. So he was getting rid of the people who weren't really going to be there to see it through. And he wanted people who were truly interested, willing to do work. But it wasn't nearly as onerous as he made it out to be. He was just scaring off the lazy ones to make his life easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a brilliant
That's
tactic.
usually the case. That's usually the case. People,
Yeah.
now, it's not to say that we covered some of those people in those unproductive types.
People in Productive series. That's a
Know that
great
they
one.
exist, but the vast majority of people are really just not walking around being mean for no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
People are genuinely kind and considerate, and they, have some sort of home training, as I would say, as a good Southerner. They've not been raised in a barn. They
Yep.
really do have good old home training. So, that's just give people a break. Don't just assume that that person and their personality type, or you judge them based on how they look or how they're dressed. You
Yeah.
assume what kind of person they are. Take time to get to know people. Let
Yeah.
people have the opportunity to disappoint you or to prove you right. You
That's
know,
right.
just
Overcome your fears. Consider the circumstances. You
yeah,
know, approach the people where it may feel a little uncomfortable. You may find that they're great, you fit in. Maybe there is a big reward for you at the end. A lot of good lessons here.
right, right.
Real lot of good lessons. Any other thoughts? I think we've pretty well covered this, right?
I do. I think we covered this one. Don't judge that book by its cover. Give people a chance to prove you right or wrong. Whatever you're
Mhm.
thinking about people, give people an opportunity, and don't just automatically assume that they're guilty until proven innocent.
That's
Allow
right.
people to be innocent and then prove to you that they're not trustworthy.
And remember, we're live every week, 4 o'clock on Wednesday, Eastern time.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
please tune in and join us for the next live episode. Subscribe. Remember to smack that bell. You get notified of things we're doing. We love having subscribers. When you join us, please comment so that we can respond to the comments and get to know the audience. So we thank you for coming. Tara, anything else?
Yes, thank you for coming. And we appreciate you sharing and commenting. So let us hear what you're thinking about these videos. We really appreciate your comments.
Yep. And if you have a great topic, we would love to know, because we're always looking for great content and cool videos to share that provide valuable lessons for your life.
Yes.
All right. Hey, take care. Be well.
All right. Bye for now.